She is upstairs, involved in a very important television film.
Oh.
I'll get her to shout. Rox!
Stone.
Rox!
If she's upstairs, we'll be very quick with this interview then.
I know. Rox! Shout hello! Coming down now.
Yeah. Was she laughing? Did I hear her? I heard her laughter. But where are you? Because I can see fir trees behind you, Michael.
I'm absolutely frozen out in the middle of, well, what is Iceland, really?
Recording in progress.
Oh. Was that Roxanne?
No, it was a strange man that just jumped in.
Yeah. Recording in progress.
Yeah. I don't know why it's recording. There we go. It must have done it automatic.
So,
how's it been? Has it been good fun?
Oh, been really good fun. Yeah. You're working. You had to turn it down because you've got a proper job. Is that right?
I did get a proper, well, not a proper job. It was just I had so many deadlines on these audiobooks that I was doing that I just could not, come. That was the main reason. We've also got a very sick spaniel who needs a lot of care at the moment. So.
And you can't make Chicago either, can you?
You are?
You can't make Chicago either.
I can't, unfortunately. No. It's a real shame. But I have to come back. If there's one next year, I'll have to do that.
There is!
2022! Could you send Roxanne to Chicago then? We want something nice to look at.
Yeah, thanks.
So, Andrew, are you going to talk to us?
Well, I suppose I could do, but I don't have to. I don't think you really need me.
No, it's just bromance, and we'll get over the bromance.
So we're here to celebrate 1967 to 1969 of Doctor Who, really.
Right.
Do you want me to ask some questions?
Yeah,
What do you want to do? What's been quite nice about this weekend, Michael, is that because obviously it's a bit of a test run for opening everything up again after COVID, is that it's a relatively small audience. It's only about 250 people here, but it means we've been able to sort of include people a bit more in terms of having a conversation actually with them rather than just us talking. And so if it's okay with you, I'll invite the audience if you want to chip in at any time with a question or a comment. You may have to shout, but just put your hand up and let us know.
Yeah.
In fact, Michael, I did a photo shoot today in your dad's jacket and shirt and bow tie.
Oh, really?
And I put a black beetle wig on as well. So I'm still wearing your dad's jacket as well.
Oh, lovely.
So being a lawyer, I feel beholden to point out that he therefore owes you royalties, Michael. Just to get things going, because this is something I genuinely don't know, I'm quite interested. As and when your dad was cast in the role, how old were you, Michael, and how aware were you of your father's work?
Right, I was probably 12, coming on 13, which was really the perfect age to have your dad suddenly become Doctor Who. I mean, it was wonderful. When I found out, I was the first to tell everybody at school, and they just thought it was fantastic, absolutely brilliant.
Sounds as though you were already aware of the programme then. Had you watched it before?
Sorry, say that again?
It sounds as though you were therefore aware of the show itself. Had you watched it before you went into it?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, we used to watch Bill in it. I mean, we watched it pretty well every week, actually. Yeah, almost from the start. Although, how old would I have been? How long did he go? 4 or 5 years?
3 years.
Yeah.
3 and a bit, basically, yeah. But they were long years, of course. I think they were recording 46 weeks out of the year. So, did that mean you didn't get to see him very much, or did you get the perk of maybe occasionally being able to go along either to the studio or the filming?
Say that again. Sorry, it's really unclear.
You must project.
I must enunciate. Sorry, I was being a bit fast there as well. The fact that there was such a heavy workload, did that mean therefore that he sort of disappeared for quite a long period of time from your everyday life, or did you get the chance to go and see him either in the studio or when they were out filming?
Yeah, he did disappear for a huge amount of time. It was pretty continuous, as Fraser will tell you. They were working every week, all weeks, basically, at the beginning, until they... You had a strike, didn't you, at one point? Because you just decided you just couldn't take the...
That's right.
Is that right, Fraser?
Yeah, that's right, Michael. We were in the middle of a long, hard season, and we got the Mind Robber episodes, and there was just the three of us, Wendy, me, and Dad, and we just said, this is ridiculous. We can't do this, just 3 actors. And we said, you have to cut the episodes down. So the first episode, instead of being like 24 minutes, was like 21 minutes. Now, 3 minutes might not seem a lot, but it's a lot of dialogue and stuff. And so they had the white robots and that psych and stuff. So we actually went on a mini strike saying, we can't do it. We're in the middle of a long season.
So if I've understood correctly what you mean by that, it's not so much the amount of time it was taking to record it, it's the actual sheer volume of material you had to learn.
Yeah, that first episode was a 3-hander. And as I say, if it'd been the beginning of a new series, when we'd all been on holiday and we're ready to jump in there, but we're in the middle. I've got these Target books, and it says on Sunday, which was their day off, Patrick, when they went off filming, I think, on Sunday, which was their day off, Patrick, Wendy, what part of day off did the BBC understand?
Yeah.
And we worked on our days off.
If it's any consolation to the two of you, I actually was on the staff at BBC Studios until 2 years ago, and it still remains the same. You know, you've got your contracted hours and your contracted job, and then they give you all the extra stuff to do on top. And very often you end up working on a role which is actually above your pay grade. It's called acting up.
In fact, I think your dad and I are owed a lot of money, because every time my agent asked for a raise, they said, it's children's television. Sean Sutton is head of children's TV.
I didn't know that phrase.
Yes.
That's interesting. Really?
Sean Sutton is head of children's television. And later, years later, I found out, no, Sean was head of television drama. So we should have got drama money, not children's.
Yeah.
So the BBC owe you and me a lot of money.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, good luck with that.
You'll get paid monopoly money.
Yeah, monopoly. Yeah, it would be monopoly money. It would be nice.
Another quick question, if I may. Did the two of you actually ever meet at the time?
Yes, it's quite interesting, that story, because when I met Fraser, I think it was in 2012, for the first time since I was 12, because the last time I'd seen him, I was in short trousers and I was at the studio. And I remember talking to you. And then in 2012, we met at that convention, my first sort of American convention, the Doctor Who convention. And I think that was in Los Angeles, wasn't it?
It was. And didn't you have a T-shirt on with the map of the London Underground?
Yeah.
You had this, I don't know if you've been to London, but there's an underground. And there's a station called Cockfosters, you know. And I said to Michael, I'd point, is that Cockfosters? And he said, no, it's mine.
I was a bit worried where you were going with that.
No, clean story, it's a true story. But didn't you come on the stage, the studio, when we did the 2 Doctors? In 1984?
No, I didn't come in. The 2 visits I made was the Web of Fear, with the Underground set, which was really exciting. And the other one, I think, I wanted to go to the Yeti, the first ever Yeti one, on location. You went to Wales, didn't you? I think?
That's right, we did, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just trying to remember the other one I went to. Oh yes, that's right. The that huge great Dalek.
Even with the Daleks.
Even with the Daleks, yeah. We've been saying today about the Emperor Dalek, although it had a brassiere, we were saying it should have been the Empress Dalek. And in my knowledge brains, he said, I know Daleks gender free, so they can be anything.
The problem with Fraser is that his mammaries cheat.
Mammaries?
Yeah.
Out.
You can see what kind of a weekend it's been, Michael, a very long one.
And I've just had two Bloody Marys, so it's be rather nice.
Mary hit Mary?
No, yeah. I'm on a diet, so I'm trying to lose weight, so a Bloody Mary is like food, because it's tomato juice, it's tomato juice.
Have you, Fraser, have you suffered from the COVID paunch?
Yeah, I've... Well, yeah. Well, I just after lockdown, I had to do a thing for Outlander in Scotland, and I put my best suit on. It didn't fit. My second suit,
no.
3 suits
Really
didn't fit. So literally, I went on a crash diet, like bowl of soup for breakfast, bowl of soup at night, and I lost about 8 or 9 pounds. But you're right, and I'm trying to keep the weight off. And of course, Michael, as you know, coming to America, American portions. Oh, so I'm trying to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I remember doing a series, and I came back each year, and the wardrobe lady would have to rip the back of the trousers with a little V shape in order for them to fit. It was very embarrassing.
And that's nothing to do with the show.
I'm with you. I'm on a diet.
No, I've had to, and I'm trying to keep the weight off now. Really.
Yeah.
And eating 1 meal a day, just one, you know, a bowl of stew.
Well, that's really good. 1 meal a day.
Yeah.
Have you heard about this starvation diet?
No.
You starve yourself for a day, and then you have a normal meal, you know, another day, and then you starve yourself. It's alternate. It actually works really well.
I've tried the whiskey diet. You drink a bottle of whiskey a day, and then you leave it, and you lose 3 days. Only 3 days.
Left me speechless now, I don't know what to say. So in terms of the actual fan side of the show, Michael, it would appear that you were first involved in 2012. How did that come out?
I started, I tell you, there was, the first ever convention I went to was up in, I think it was Newcastle.
Yeah.
And I wasn't quite sure what I was going to, you know, because I'd never been to one before. And I drove up the A1 all the way from Suffolk, and it was about a 5-hour journey. And I got to the hotel, and I got out the car, I opened the hotel room, where, the hotel door where, you know, all the convention was taking place. And I was met by this huge guy, and he was covered in tattoos all over his body. Oh. He had one of those string shirts on that, you know, you could see all the different tattoos. And I looked closer, and they were Doctor Who's. All the Doctor Who's. They were tattooed all over his body. And he comes up to me, just as I come through the door, and he lifts his armpit up like this, and he goes, "And I'll keep your dad in a safe place." Do you know, I nearly turned round, got back in the car.
I was just about to say, you terrified. Got better
he actually turned out to be a really lovely guy, and we had a great laugh during that Newcastle.
Because we did a panel, didn't we?
An initiation test.
I remember you and I did a panel that time. And that's the first time we'd actually kind of met since 1900 and Frozen to Death. Yeah, we did a panel together.
Exactly, yeah. It must have been 40 years between me, you know, talking to you as a 12-year-old.
Yes, that's right.
Later on, maybe more, actually. Yeah.
Given that you'd only really met Fraser very briefly before then, back on the set of the programme, had you sort of worked out what he's like as a personality, and had you devised any strategies to try to get a word in during that panel?
It is very difficult, isn't it? Yeah, it is. But I have to say, Fraser is full of the most amazingly funny jokes. So,
thank you. You want to do a panel with Katie Manning? That's Katie Manning. And I did one with Katie, and they asked her a question, and she always answers another question and another question, and suddenly she's doing 40 minutes, and you're sat on the stage like, what? So I did it with Peter Purvis, and she did this joke and another story, and which reminded me, I did this, and then I did it, and I sat on Peter Purvis's knee, and I started to snog him. And the audience started to laugh, and Katie's going, "Why are they laughing? That's not funny." And she looked round and saw us. And she said later in the bar, she said, "I did this thing, I thought, why are they laughing? Because that's not very funny." She said, "I looked round and you two shit were kissing."
Well, is fair enough, a little bit of a... Does anyone have any mind bleach? You've completely put me off the subject now. I don't know what to ask next. This obviously must have been a few years, therefore, before you actually appeared in the show yourself, Michael.
Yeah.
It was the Peter Capaldi Christmas one that you were in, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a Christmas
With
special.
the crowds.
I think it was 2014.
Yeah.
And my agent phoned up. I thought it was a joke to begin with, because they want you to go up for a party of Doctor Who. And actually, I went up originally for, which was the one set on the train.
The murder of the Orient Express in Space, whatever it was called.
Yeah, there was a mummy and all that.
Orient Express.
Yeah. I think I read for a character in that, and I went home, didn't hear anything else, and then they phoned up and said, "Do you want to do the Christmas special as a prof?" And I went, "Yeah, definitely, absolutely wonderful." Because the real reason is because David, my brother, has been in, I think he's been in 3 now, and so I count the Christmas special as 2.
Yeah.
I know, having worked peripherally and met several times Peter Capaldi, that he's a huge fan, and therefore already mentioned that it was a big significance to him that you were working with him. But once you were actually there and actually started to work on the show, did they make anything of the connection with your father?
Yeah, I mean, he was constantly asking me questions. I mean, Peter Capaldi is definitely a fan. I mean, a major Doctor Who fan. And Dad and Tom Baker were, his doctors. And he was continuing asking me. The thing is, I knew Peter before really well, because we worked on a series called, I can't remember what it's called, but we worked together quite a lot before that. And on those occasions, he was constantly asking me about what it was like to be on set, during the 60s. Because he's absolutely fascinated by it all. I mean, he couldn't have got a better job. He really couldn't. He really enjoyed it as well. He had a great time. And I thought he was bloody marvellous.
Well, I was doing a show in Cardiff, and word got to me, Peter wants to meet you, Fraser. Do you want to come to the set? Say tomorrow or Thursday. And I went, I announced Peter Capaldi. "Oh, Fraser, lovely, how are you?" Great. I said, "Oh, I'm so glad to see you. I've got to go now." I said, "Okay."